Sex, the literal reason we're all here, is a vital part of any organism's existence. Almost all flora and fauna require some interaction with another of their species to create the next generation of delicious offspring for the higher-ups on the food chain. Sex is just a function, a means of genetic survival. And then humans came along. We have sex for pleasure as well, and that pleasure can sometimes have dire consequences. That fact shines when the fall of Rome is connected almost directly to the hedonistic orgies and generally loose lifestyle they were renowned for. Because as fun as it can be, sex is very distracting from getting anything productive done. Since sexual freedom tainted the final days of the Roman Empire so much, civilizations that followed tended to downplay their procreational activities, keeping it beneath the covers and conversationally, well, absent. This created a subculture that passed around certain images, usually of nude people doing things to one another. It's part of the inevitable backlash against strict control over group behavior, fetishism of the restricted activity. The porn industry today may not have existed if it weren't for society's chastising of open sexual practices for centuries. Poetic irony is my favorite kind. These images stayed underground for the most part throughout much of history, with a discreet gentleman passing it to their less discreet friends. However, as technology advanced, dirty pictures began to move. When the first camera captured a man sneezing, days later someone thought about filming that person nude. In an almost parallel movement with Hollywood, producers of erotic pictures grabbed the nearest camera and began making stag films. While moral critics had always decried the dirty picture racket, full-on moving images of sex proved unthinkable to a good-natured person, and the people that created this trash were amoral heretics of decency. That leaves those involved with pornography on camera in a weird social position. What is their place when the cameras aren't rolling? Can they ever truly escape the porn industry when the footage is always going to be out there? These questions are addressed in a little movie called The Girl Next Door. A comedy released in 2004, The Girl Next Door does a strangely decent job of tackling questions about porn stars without becoming overly campy or unnecessarily dark. It stars... hang on a second. That's not the right footage. What's that from? Oh! What a coincidence. I wonder how this one is. Oh! Jesus! Why would someone make that? Okay, just for clarification, this is the girl next door I'm talking about. Not this one. Blonde good, blood-soaked rag back. Oh, flashbacks. Oh. Alright, let's get started. Meet Matt Kinsman, student council president and busybody senior. His classmates are doing a great job enjoying their vapid high school careers, complete with montages of drinking, necking, and giggling with friends. Wait a minute! Is that Olivia Wilde? As a nameless extra? She's the girl next door, right? Movie Don't Mess With Me, it's the obvious choice. Actually, this is the real girl next door named Danielle, played by Alicia Cuthbert. She's house sitting for her aunt, and guess what sheltered boy happens to live right beside her?
Oh my god.
What? Matt, what? Matt.
If he weren't such an introverted virgin, this scene would come off as kind of creepy. But those are the doe eyes of, my god, a real girl, what do I do now? Does scare easily. Luckily for him, this potentially awkward encounter creates a strange friendship, one that begins to reshape his worldview. He's always fallen lockstep with whatever society told him was the best thing to do, that he never paused to figure out what he actually wanted. And she's starting to make that a real possibility for him. While his classmates and adult influences all point him in the direction of higher education at a prestigious university, Danielle starts to show him there are other roads. Her experienced hand takes him from that well-worn path onto one of self-discovery, as shown in this sequence. This sequence is brought to you by Montage, when telling the whole story just isn't important. Before the end of the first act, she's already began to change his life for the better by freeing him from the social reins he thought inescapable. Her nature, that free spirit, is inspiring. Of course, there's a reason she's immune to the social pressure he's caved to his entire life. She's,
You're gonna need a harder piece of wood than that, cowboy.
quite a free spirit. Danielle used to be a porn star, and she must have been a relatively big name because Matt's friend Eli actually has a tape that she performed on. So either she's been in quite a few, or he has quite the enthusiasm for pornography.
Dude, I'm kind of uncomfortable watching this with you. Dude, learn to like it.
Huh. That's more awkward than watching Caligula on a first date, and not many activities make that list. When Matt discovers Danielle's past, which she's trying to escape from, he starts to see her in a new light. Not the most flattering light, just, very, teenage hormone kind of light. Whew, it's getting hot in here. It's astounding how the addition of coitus can change your perception of an activity so much. If you subtract the sex, Danielle's only offense is being a bad actress in a poorly scripted scene.
Please, come in. Make yourself comfortable.
Thank you for meeting with me, Mr. Cox. I was really worried about the F that my son Timmy has in your class.
Well, your son's a smart boy. He just, doesn't apply himself.
Isn't there anything I can do to help boost his GPA?
Now that you mention it. Here's a list of tutors.
Thank you, Mr. Cox.
Anything to help make the grade.
What the hell are you doing in my office?
Of course, there's another factor at play. While sex is a common activity for people at some point in their lives, public sex is another beast entirely. The popular acronym PDA points out potentially lewd behavior in the social realm. And having footage of yourself vigorously performing naked streamed to computers around the world is about as public a display of affection as one can have. Some may argue that the term affection doesn't really apply here. While a lengthy debate about the strict definition could help, I'll just call in the man that always makes the rulings. DM?
You wrangle up the Barbies and throw them kicking and screaming into the melting pot. They have rules for that. What kind of a game is this?
What did I interrupt?
A reenactment of Small Soldiers, just without all the whimsy. What's up?
Well, I'm reviewing The Girl Next Door, and
Jesus! First they bring me a game where toys mangle each other, and now you want me to watch torture porn?
No. That's a different Girl Next Door. This one's about porn stars.
No! Just, no, I'm not. I'm not doing it. I'm not.
Why not?
Oh, gee, I don't know. Maybe because I'm uncomfortable? Do you ever think about that?
Fair enough, but that discomfort thing is fascinating. Thanks, DM.
You're welcome, I guess. I'm gonna deal with this whole melty Barbie thing. We highly suggest that you scalp the dolls to save synthetic material. Dude, what the f?
Perhaps the problem isn't the act, but the reaction to the act. Danielle is a totally positive influence in Matt's life, in that embrace the chaos way, and the only reason he starts to question those changes is because society tells him what she did is odd. His whole vision of her is altered by what she performed in the past. And instead of talking about his discomfort with her, he just starts to change his behavior, treating her more like a function than another human being. That's mostly his fault, but part hers too. Danielle, she really starts to act more like a plot device than anything.
Hello, she's the reason the whole movie exists.
Fora? Wow, am I glad to see you. You know, if I could.
Wow, definitely not Fora. Great to know that we all look the same to you.
Okay, different voice. Who are you?
Who I am doesn't matter, what I am is pissed. The whole point of this movie is the fact that it's about this uptight kid who's being worked into a box because he has all this pressure about family and friends and what he thinks he needs to be and what he thinks he needs to do. He meets this woman and she thinks he's a cute little puppy. Oh, so uptight. So Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I need to take him out of himself. I need to show him a good time. I need to show him how to live his life. So they go around and they do all these things and she sets him free and teaches him to go with the flow. Meanwhile, he's changing her little by little until, of course, he objectifies her when he finds out what she actually does.
I don't really think, though.
And yet, she is so one note. She could be wallpaper. Here she is developing him, helping him reach his potential, whatever that may be, and yet we know nothing about her. We just have background music and odd facial expressions, not really how does she feel, why did she get out of it, why did she get into it, how did she feel during the whole thing, because she seems oddly liberated while she's doing it and not objectified.
Okay, but what of it?
She didn't react like a one-note character. You can see that there's an actual person there. She realizes that he's objectifying her, sits there rubbing her ass at him like, this is what you want, isn't it? I'm just a piece of ass. And she's so disappointed because he is supposed to be a beacon of goodness in her life.
He is only a teenager after all. Give him some credit there.
He's become a caricature. How many 18-year-old boys go, man, I wish that would happen to me. I use being stupid and acting on somebody else's advice that they knew would backfire. Hey, here's something good, here's a friend, why don't you make them feel like crap? Maybe he thought, hey, I can get laid for the first time, or maybe I can learn some good tricks, or she won't mind, without realizing that she's actually a girl and has feelings. So, you're going to treat me like a dog? I'm going to act like a dog. Woof.
What about when he tries to make amends, though? I mean, he admits he was stupid, and then he goes up to her at that porn convention when she's about to dive headfirst back into the world and says,
I know who you really are. And you're better than this.
Better than what? Better than a porn star? Better than a veterinarian? It's such a cliche. If you want to comfort someone or empower someone, you're going to say, you're better than this. How about you took the easy road out? You should have tried harder. Is this what you really want? Would have been appropriate. Anything would have been more appropriate than, you're better than this. Shaming someone into changing their life for your happiness? I don't think so.
yeah, you've got quite a lot to say. So I guess I'll just throw this out there. What do you think of the other girl next door?
Yeah, I heard about that when my cousins invited me to come over and watch it in the basement. Luckily, my mom grounded me that week, or there might have been the girl next door too.
Well, that was enlightening. Thanks, Silhouette of Female Empowerment.
I don't need your benediction.
Okay, sure. So Danielle and her involvement specifics with the porn industry stay unexplored throughout the movie. While there are some reactions to her involvement from Matt's social group, her being a porn star really only has a major impact on the extremely convoluted climax. You see, Matt drives Danielle back to Kelly, her former producer/boyfriend, who happens to befriend the bank teller that's managing Matt's account for the foreign exchange student so he can bring this genius up from Cambodia. So when Matt talks Danielle out of porn, Kelly is out a ton of money and he gets upset, so he makes Matt steal the Woody from Dexter's father who's wearing a Speedo. Still, not the most outlandish plot I've seen.
Christmas parts are on light. I'll bring a ransom.
But dumb and extra, I've increased the ransom to $1 million.
I will do anything to free the hostages. Anything.
Well, now that you mention it.
Yeah. This is the part where you go like, I want some bathtub filled with tapioca pudding. Man, these Clash shows are getting way too predictable.
I could use a bog egg and a bathtub full of tapioca.
Changing the channel. The problem with this movie is that there are 9 plot threads, each with an easy start, middle, and conclusion. But they interrupt each other so often, the audience forgets them until they make their obvious finishes. It's True Blood syndrome. The thing is, all the plots build up to a climax with a really great payoff. And it's something that's so good, I don't want to spoil it. It's like if you have 3 leftover meals in your fridge and throw in 7 spices over here and mix it all together and it makes a gourmet dinner. It's great, but unrepeatable. So, as only a fourth of the movie is about the porn industry, and I don't want to spoil the big ending for you, let's sum up The Girl Next Door. Despite the negative things I've said, I like this mess of a movie. It's got heart, clever humor at times, and enough plot for 3 films. Definitely worth seeing once, unlike that other one. If you like watching horrible things happen to people for no reason, then I guess go with the torture porn? Otherwise, stick with the blonde and the comedy. Personally, I'm done with both. I'm the other Socio, and this is my porn name.
for me 20 joys. Around her heart's black and blue between love boys. I tore my knees up getting to you cause I needed to find out what the thing was for. Been reading, and then the time came to explore. I went 8-fire cause I thought like I liked it. Little tease, but I didn't mean it. But you messed it.
In 3, 2, 1.